What's up guys, Dan here. In this video, I'm gonna tell you how I got paid to buy a triplex. Guys, real quick, a quick plug from today's partner, Rent Redi rental property management software. It's a software that I personally use and it helps me manage that triplex in terms of collecting rent, managing maintenance requests, applications, and a ton of other stuff. If you wanna get that and try it out for only $1 for 6 months, go ahead and check it out in the link below this video. Okay, in this video, I'm gonna tell you how I actually got paid to buy a triplex and how you can do the same thing through my secret value add real estate strategy. And you could even do this strategy with no money out of pocket as well. So here's what happened. Let me tell you the story of how I got this triplex and actually got paid to buy it. So how I found this deal is I was simply driving down a road that I drive every single day, was commuting to work, and I saw for rent sign, right? And a strategy for you, if you're looking for deals, I would call every single for rent sign you see, especially the ones that are like the homemade ones that are just like for rent, they're red, and people are just scribbling the numbers in there because that means that usually they're a mom and pop landlord. They have pain because the tenant is moving out or is gone, and they're trying to find another one, and they're having to go through the same headaches that no landlord likes to deal with, and they potentially could want to sell. So I always call all the homemade for rent signs that I see and ask people if they would consider selling their property. So I did that on this deal, and I called the gal, and she said that this triplex, is a small triplex, about 1,350 square feet. The units are pretty small. It was actually commercial property at one point, and she had been renting it out as a residential property for the last 20 odd years, right? And so they were pretty much super basic. It was a clean place, didn't need any didn't really need anything. It was basically turnkey, but it did need kitchens, okay? Because it was a commercial property originally, it had bathrooms in each of the units, but no kitchens. And so I went in there, I asked her initially, hey, have you ever considered selling? And she was like, yeah, we did recently have a private listing and just really didn't go anywhere. And so I said, awesome, what were you looking to get out of the place? And I knew looking at the place that, and it's in my town, I knew that I could rent those units for easily, $600 a month. And I called her and asked her what she was trying to get, and she was only trying to get $450, right? So instantly I know that there's a value add opportunity there simply because, she doesn't know the market. And as it turns out, she wasn't really interested in trying to, get the property to peak performance. She was an elderly lady looking to just get out of the game. It was her only rental property, and her and her husband just kind of wanted to sunset and go enjoy their money, right? So she mentioned a number. I instantly using the 1% rule. If I can rent it conservatively at $600 a month, then that's going to put me at about $1,800 a month for the whole complex. And so right there, I know that it's worth at least just say 180 using simplified numbers, right? And so she said, hey, we were looking to get about 160, 165. And so I'm like, awesome. When can I come see it? I can come and see it today, come and see it tomorrow. So I go, and she's like, yeah, come tomorrow at noon. I go the next day at noon, go in there by myself. I walk the units. It's super clean. I can tell there's really nothing wrong with the place. It doesn't really need anything. Some places are distressed, but she kept this really nice kind of metal roof. Crawl space, everything looked good. And so I was like, hey, I want to buy it. Let's, what do you want to get? And I think she said 160. I was like, I'm thinking 120. All right. And so eventually we just haggled back and forth for about a minute and, arrived at, hey, 140, and we shook hands. All right. And so I was able to, and so I got it bought for 140. So I actually negotiated in her to pay some closing costs. That way we can get them into the loan. So the purchase price was $142,800. So I've got it locked in. We got a contract. I just drew it up on you can just make a simple contract on one piece of paper or download one from your local title company, and then just fill that out, a simple FISBO contract that is really easy to understand and you can do with any sale. You do not need a real estate agent to buy and sell property. It is actually a very simple process, and they're not required, especially for, I wouldn't probably do it if I had bought stuff before, so I knew the process, but you don't need a real estate agent to buy and sell property. Love agents, but it's not 100% required. So let's fast forward to the fun part. Okay, how did I get paid for buying this duplex for $142,000? Well, immediately you can see that I got the property at a great discount. At the time when I bought it, she only had 2 tenants in the property, but one of them wasn't really paying, and she was only getting about $400 from the other one, right? So this is a very underperforming asset. As it sits right now, it wasn't, she wasn't, using it to the highest capacity. So 140 was a very fair price for where it was. She was very happy. She just wanted to be done with it. She'd had it for 30 years and had made her money, right? And so what I did is I can see the potential. I can see where it's going to rent at, and but there is an issue. It needs kitchens, right? And I wanted to put those in originally because it's just not going to be competitive on the marketplace without those kitchens. And then what I came to find is to actually get a residential loan on a property, the property has to have kitchens in order to qualify for that loan. So what I did, went to the local bank, the local commercial banker, and was like, hey, let's go ahead and get this loan. What is it going to appraise for with these kitchens added in, right? So that is one thing you can do, is you can buy a place, and then with the condition that you're going to put the thing in that's going to make it qualify, right? Like you're going to put the it's almost like a renovation loan, but I came out of pocket for the expense. So 20% of 142 is about $28,000. And so we went to the closing table. I bought the property, put 28 grand down of my own cash, but I'll tell you later, you don't have to necessarily do that. So I bought it, put 28 grand down. As soon as I signed the paperwork, the property actually appraised for $187,000 with the kitchens installed. So as soon as I signed the papers, I made $45,000 in equity instantly as soon as I closed on the deal. That's pretty cool, making 45 grand with only 28 of your own money in it, and that's the equity that's still in the property, right? So I'm instantly making more money. I made 45,000 just by closing on the deal, which is a fantastic feeling. Guys, if you want to buy a triplex too, go and hit the like button down below. So I already had a contractor line up a bid, immediately had him start working. He had kitchens installed in the property within a week. I actually was able to move a tenant into the property the day after that I closed. So the property was at 100% occupancy. I bumped the rent on one of the tenants, and then I got a different tenant for the other unit very quickly, all within a month. So installed the kitchens. The kitchens cost about $7,000. So all in, I'm into the property for about $35,000. I've made $45,000 in equity on top of that. And then I got the property performing and fully rented, and the gross rents of the entire property were $2,100 a month, which is absolutely fantastic, especially considering I bought it for $142,000 or $140, basically $150,000 was my all-in cost. So guys, it gets even better than that. So I made money right there, but then you're like, okay, well, Dan, that's great, you have that equity in there, but you can't get it out, right? It's not money in your pocket. Okay, so this is what I did afterwards. So immediately after, now that I have the property's worth 187, right? I've got, a ton of equity in this place, like 45 plus 28 is $73,000 in equity on a $187,000 place. So, and I only got a loan for about 110 or so. So what I do is I go back to the bank and say, hey bank, property stabilized. I've got renters in there. The place is making $2,100 a month. I've got this initial loan. The LTV is really low. Can I go ahead and get a line of credit for the difference between that loan, the initial loan, and up to 75% LTV, or loan to value? And what loan to value is the amount of debt on a property relative to the equity, right? So like of the total value of the property, 75% is debt, 25% is equity. And the bank's like, yeah, we'll give you a line of credit. You've got the asset stabilized. It's got a fresh appraisal right here. We know we can sell it. And we have 25% buffer if anything goes wrong. So they went ahead and gave me a $35,000 line of credit. And if you remember before, I put $28,000 down and then put $7,000 in renovation costs. So all in, I'm only $35,000 out of pocket into the property. So within about 30 days, I actually was able to get a $35,000 line of credit, and that money is essentially as good as cash. The interest rate on that is variable, but at the time, it was only about, the line of credit was only about 5.5%, 6% interest, simple interest, and you only pay it when you draw it out. So you can use that basically same as cash and buy more real estate because it's already collateralized by that property. So that's how I actually got paid to buy a triplex. And guys, There's a lot of strategies like short-term lenders and stuff where, or you could get partners where you wouldn't even need to bring money out of your pocket to go buy that deal. Like a good investor, like say myself, if I saw that, if you came to me with an opportunity where, hey, I'm gonna make, if you just give me the money to go buy this place, I'm instantly going to make, I have an appraisal right here, I'm instantly gonna make $45,000 in equity as soon as I sign the dotted line. I would loan you the money to go buy that place and put the renovations in, because I know that I can make an interest that's extremely safe. So you wouldn't even need to take your own cash. You could actually go borrow it from somebody like me or another investor and buy that deal with no money out of your pocket, pay them out, and then you've still got the deal and your $45,000 in equity, right? So that's how you could do it and get actually paid to go buy a triplex. Guys, I hope you liked that video. I hope you found it entertaining, and I hope you got a lot of value. If you did, hit that like button down below, subscribe for the channel. If you have any questions about that, please leave them in the comments below. Check out another video and go ahead and sign up for Rent Redi. Get 6 months for $1, and I will see you in the next video.